Hello, and welcome back to Gotaproblemmate podcast and videocast. That's right, on YouTube and all the apps.
All the apps.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Joey Page.
Spotify.
This
iTunes.
is Bilal's. Oh, you're still doing that.
Google Podcasts?
I don't know. Do they do Google?
They did.
W.H. Smith's podcast.
W.H. Smith's podcast, Woolworths podcasts.
Woolworths.
Blockbuster. Do you remember
Blockbuster
that?
video.
Did you used
podcast.
to go Blockbuster?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brothers did.
Yeah.
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 What game
You're too
console
young.
did you have? I'm a bit young for it.
Well,
Yeah, but they went.
NES.
NES.
Yeah,
Did they get
Nintendo.
Did you get games from there?
Oh, by then
We had
it
a
was
Mega Drive.
Sonic. Yeah, Mega Drive.
Sonic. Why do
Yeah,
you like
Mega
grimace when you said Sonic?
I don't know.
Welcome everybody. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good.
Yeah.
I've recovered from my hangover
Oh, yeah, have you?
last week. Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was a fun party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to get straight into this because we've got a very special guest with us today. And
Okay.
I've only managed to lure him to the podcast because he left something in my car. Okay?
Right.
That is true.
That is true.
Well, we should do that with
I
more
don't want
people.
your audience to be under the illusion that I've come here for any artistic, emotional reason.
Well, we know you're not getting anything out of it.
yes.
We're
so-
getting the Jeff Innocent role.
And I did have a listen to a couple of your podcasts
Yeah.
before I came on to prepare myself.
Yeah.
I couldn't make head nor tail of what you were talking about.
Okay, good.
I thought this sounds like a shambles to me.
Yeah.
I love Joey. He's got my sliders
Yeah.
that I left in his car because we work quite a lot, Joey and I. We do gigs together, and he picks me up in his car, and I left my sliders in his car. And I'm going on holiday on Thursday to Ibiza, and I need those sliders for walking about the hotel. I've got some Crocs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think I like sliders, and I can't. They're massive. Those ones. They're like too big for me, and I find that more comfortable.
Oh, really?
Because Jeff
Yeah,
said
yeah.
I
Okay.
can't go and get more sliders because they don't make them that big usually.
Yeah, I don't even know where I got
So
these
I don't
from.
even know
They're like
what-
a freaky big 13 or 14. I'm only a 12.
Right.
But I've got some kind of mild foot disability, which means my foot turns, so I have to get bigger shoes.
Oh, okay.
And there's a balance issue, so the bigger the shoe, the better,
The better the balance.
more stable I am.
Oh,
Yeah.
So I bet you feel pretty bad now about stealing.
Well, yeah, it's stealing a disabled man's shoes, basically.
As if there's any other way that I would lure a guest into the podcast. And he wears glasses. He left them in the car.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's all,
I said,
it's
"You're not
all
getting them back."
disability. It's a
And-
disability. This is a disability one. This.
And you
Yeah.
left one of your cloths.
What?
No way. What, one of my,
Yeah,
one of
one of
these
those.
grey towels?
Yeah.
Was exactly that.
Flannel.
Yeah, flannel. I wondered where they were going.
Well-
That's an old yardie thing, really. That's from when I used to go out raving in the... Well, actually, even when I first started going out in the 60s, you would notice, and the black guys were ahead of the game on this, there was if you were down in a cellar kind of nightclub, they would have a flannel in their back pocket when it gets hot and sweaty, and they'd wipe down. And then when I got on the sort of reggae music scene, because that's my first love, I noticed flannels in the back pocket was de rigueur. In fact, if you really want to do it, they were using those beer mats, Ray and Nephew Jamaican rum beer mats, and folding them up and putting them in their back pocket.
What,
So
and
I-
then damping themselves down
yeah,
with
yeah,
it?
yeah. So I took...
Have you ever dampened yourself down with a beer mat?
I do what Lee Evans does. I
What
have
does
a
he do?
big towel.
You have a big towel?
yeah, what, in the back pocket, hanging down, when you go
Massive
to
towel.
nightclubs and that.
But it's very rare that you see anybody these days with a flannel.
I think I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And in fact...
my
you were-
dad as well likes a flannel.
Did your dad like a flannel
Not,
as
well,
well?
not out and about, but for washing his face.
Oh, I don't use them for that
No.
purpose. No.
I had,
That's old school, isn't it? Flannel,
Yeah,
soap and flannel to
Soap
wash
and
your
flannel,
face.
yeah, he's still doing
Wow,
it.
man.
And I used to be, on one occasion, I was John Perry, my mate from school. We went out clubbing. We were about 16 in the house and garage club up
Okay.
Bexley Heath called Bar Ice, and he was dancing with a girl and he was getting all sweaty and he kept on being like, "Dad, get rid of this sweat." So
Right.
I hadn't pulled. It was his dippy mate just stood there dancing every now and again. I'd have to use my shirt to like.
Oh,
Wipe off his
mate.
sweat.
No, that dear. Well, now you know what a flannel's a very
Yeah.
integral
I should have bought him one for
part
his
of
birthday.
going out, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleeve. That's disgusting,
I
Joe.
know,
What
but I had
a
to.
Sleeve.
I was trying to help him get laid.
But that's
I like the way
sweet
you
of
said, like, I hadn't pulled as if now,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what happens to the shirt now, does it?
No, it doesn't
Because
matter.
I'm not going
Yeah, I'm
home
not.
with anybody.
Come in, your
so-
friends sweat, you'll
I was just
sweat.
happy to be in there because I was 16 and I looked 16. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know how I got in.
You still look, you don't look 16, but you haven't,
No, you're youthful.
you
Yeah.
are, you got a youthful
We
face.
did. Me and
Joe.
my wife said we were at Joe's 40th recently, and we thought you look younger than your friends.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah. Like all these friends that are winning.
But they've got real jobs. Do you know what I mean?
All
They're all stressed.
The most stressful part of my month is picking you up from your house.
I'm sure it is, yeah. And worried about stealing my footwear.
Well, I'm more worried about because you don't really like my car.
Well, can we explain to Joey's followers and comrades that what happens is I don't drive, okay? So I stopped driving in lockdown, got rid of my car, and every now and again I'll get a gig that you can only do in a car. And I say, look, I don't drive, but... And they go, well, find an act that you know that drives. And I usually choose Joey.
Yeah.
So we have these gigs that we go on. And he's got an old car.
Vauxhall Astra.
The
Silver Bullet.
Silver. It's actually got mould in the window frame. You know, by the seals of the window.
No, you know, like
there's
moss,
like a green moss.
Yeah.
Moss. Well, I suppose moss is it a kind of mould?
I don't know. Did you have
right,
did you have moss growing in your flat?
Maybe.
But you don't really have that. Shouldn't have that on a car, should you?
No, you shouldn't. No.
So he doesn't bother washing the car. However, it's a great car for the job.
It's pretty nippy.
Yeah, it is. It goes fast enough. It's all right. We spent many hours in that car.
Yeah, and I would like to
In the
say
front
probably one of.
I might add.
I would like to say I'm probably one of the best drivers on the circuit.
Yeah.
That's a big claim.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
should have a Chortle Award for that.
Yeah, they
They
should.
should.
Well, being able to drive for hours and then getting on stage and doing a gig, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it, I think?
I think so.
And sometimes Joey's busy during the day as well.
Yeah.
With his other
he
projects.
keeps busy, yeah.
I don't know how he does it, because I like to have a sleep in the afternoon before gigs. Because
Have you always done that? I don't suppose you're doing
I
that.
don't think it's an age-related thing.
No.
I think it's the way I try and see it is, say you're doing 2 or 3 gigs a night, which sometimes you do in London. You're starting work at 8 p.m, right? To me, that's your 9 a.m. in the office. So it doesn't make sense to get up at 7 a.m. and still think you're going to be fresh for 8 p.m. in the evening. So I either get up late in the morning or go back to bed and have a little sleep. And it works for me anyway.
Hotels are not on our side, are they? With our kind of job, with the 10 a.m.
I think there should be a
that
system.
3 o'clock thing. That 3 o'clock
3 o'clock
in
check-in.
and 12 o'clock out, or
Well, it's
11 o'clock
11
out.
10 or 11.
Yeah. No, they're not, are they?
But why can't they do
There should
a
be an
tariff
alternative, yeah.
where you can check in at 10 p.m. and check out at 3 p.m?
Well, I'll tell you what they do. Certainly,
Dragon's Den.
the one I've been using on the tour is you can go in earlier, but you have to pay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, so that means the rooms are ready anyway. That's a
disgraceful.
scam, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's wrong. So if the room's ready, can't you just go in there?
Yeah.
But no, you have to pay for that extra hour. I think it's £10 per hour.
and when you're going to that hotel, that chain,
Yeah.
do they recognise you
Well,
ever? Like the
at the
people
start,
working-
well, sometimes they do actually, yeah.
and they still don't let you off the money.
No, they don't give me the Lenny Henry discount that
No.
you'd expect. Not mentioning any brand names, of course.
Do they do different types of pillows?
Yeah. Oh no.
Is it,
Did you? I went
like
to South
colour purple?
Africa.
Yeah.
Where your girlfriend's from.
Yeah.
To do the Cape Town Comedy Festival.
Oh, yeah.
It was a fairly posh hotel, only a Radisson Blue, not posh, but they had a pillow menu.
Oh.
What?
They had a pillow menu explaining to you what each of the pillows' purpose was. There were about 6 pillows on the bed. And they, honestly, a pillow menu, I mean, that is extreme,
So
isn't
what
it?
did you go for?
Yeah.
Well, I had a bit of a mixture, really, because
Yeah.
I'm that sort of guy.
Yeah.
Mix and match.
Yeah.
Use all of them.
I'm very, I'm very multicultural when it
Yeah.
comes to pillows.
What sort of pillow do you have at home?
Oh, I'm not. I've just got rubbish pillows at home.
Oh,
They're not even, they're cushions. I sleep on the futon.
Oh.
I think it's because I've got a bad back, and I like the support that a sort of the back of the futon gives you. It's upright. Yeah, the futon's upright. So I sleep with my back leaning on the wall of the futon. Does that make
Right,
sense?
yeah,
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I think I find that comfortable because I've got
Yeah.
disc problems and all
Right,
of that. Yeah.
right.
Me
So,
and
And if anything happens, you're ready to go. You're
of
ready on the
course,
ground
yeah,
floor.
jump
You're out
up,
the door.
yeah.
I got married last year and we got loads of John Lewis vouchers. We weren't sure what to get. We got £50, like £50 each pillows from John Lewis, which are orthopedic, so they're like kind of flat and it's supposed to be
For your
good for your
feet.
posture.
And do they work? Or?
Neck. I think they're good, but who knows?
Yeah, see, I think I prefer a mixture
Yeah.
of 2 or 3 different types of pillow, but certainly one of them would be a proper down pillow or a feather pillow rather than one with bits of rubber inside.
I like a thin pillow, but I'll fold it over. I don't know, but I don't like a thick one.
Yeah,
Oh, so it's
I do a
too
bit of
much.
folding. I also have to have a hand under the pillow. Do you sleep like that?
No.
On the side
I mean, I've never
yeah.
revealed this before.
This is an
It's
don't know.
exclusive.
I don't know if this is going to be good for my overall stage persona, but I love. So I have whatever the pillow is at the top. So I like a cushion, maybe a couple of thin pillows on top of that, and then a hand in between.
I
like
might
that.
give that a go tonight.
Yeah, chicks love that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Now you say your stage persona, right?
Yeah.
You don't. To me, it seems like you're very good. You can talk about anything, and I think a lot of the time your comedy is about, well, I seem like this, but actually this is going on, that's going on.
Yeah,
so it feels
sure.
like using that, you could talk about anything. If you wanted to talk about how.
Yeah, are you saying there isn't really a persona as such that's that different from who I am? Is that what you mean?
I think it's just the way you.
Yeah,
set
you
it up
just
on
obviously were
stage.
performing a bit, so
Yeah.
you're a little bit extra, but you're probably right.
So
Yeah.
if you want to do the hand under the pillow stuff, you crack on.
I probably could do that, couldn't I? They would probably say, oh, I mean, what I'm all about recently, and I think what's worked for me and what's helped make me a little bit more famous, is being vulnerable. I never had that. I never had vulnerability. It was always so. I think I was a bit edgy, not purposely edgy, but a little bit harsh, a little bit tough. And I think what's happened is, as I've got older, people look at me and go, oh, he's an old bloke, and I'm deaf, and I've got a limp, and I think I've managed to develop some vulnerability, which has helped my comedy, and I mean that truthfully as well.
Bilal,
Okay. Yeah.
if we're ever going to take him to now's the time. He's vulnerable.
I don't know about that though.
No, I don't think so either.
That's-
Even all four of us, I think.
Well, it's funny because I stopped. I did martial arts for a long while,
Oh.
just because Krav Maga, just because I really love martial arts.
Okay.
What is Krav Maga?
Well, it's
Compared
like
to
a mixed
the other
martial
ones.
art, really.
Right.
It's an amalgamation of lots of different moves from other disciplines. So there's strikes, there's locks, there's holds, there's all kind of moves. But it's probably specifically designed for urban encounters, you know,
Right.
because it was actually invented by a Polish bloke, a Polish Jew.
Right.
For the resistance movement in Poland fighting the Nazis. So it's originally that's what it's used.
Wow.
And now the Israeli army use it, and it's very popular all over the world. But it's really, I mean, I have studied other martial arts, specifically Japanese karate and jiu-jitsu. And with a lot of martial arts, it's quite convoluted. There's a lot of moves, and it takes you a long while to be able to be able to use it automatically and instinctively.
Right.
Krav Maga.
Yeah, but
So
Krav
I-
Maga is something that people can pick up very quickly, and yeah, you see what I mean? That which is,
Jeff taught me that on the way to Shrewsbury.
so, but there are lots of things like that about it. So it's probably popular because it's easy to adapt to
Right.
street urban situations. It's very quick. The moves are very easy to learn, and it's all about getting out of trouble. But as I've got older, I've had a few injuries, so there's a lot of grappling and locking, so I've sort of stopped doing it, sadly. However, I'm back doing some boxing training because I just like being moved around.
Okay.
So the reason I'm saying I've stopped doing Krav Maga, I don't want people to think they can take liberties with me.
No, because you've gone back to boxing.
Yeah. So I'm back to striking a bit, which I find easier.
Yeah.
But I think it's not about the fight; it's about being moved around. When you're older, you get stiff, and I can go to the gym, but it's all sitting down on machines. It's all very straightforward.
You tried yoga?
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, my boxing trainer also does yoga. So as part of I do some alignment flexibility work with him, and we've been doing a couple of yoga moves, which I've found almost impossible and so painful. But that's the
more
way
you do
forward
'em-
for me, as an old person.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so good question.
Thank you. Ha!
Huh.
Jeff, what I wanted to ask on the subject of pillows is I read that you've been doing stand-up for nearly 30 years, is
I
that
think
right?
so, yeah.
I've been doing it for about 10 years.
Okay.
When I have a gig, obviously late in the evening, I struggle to sleep after because I'm buzzing a little bit.
Okay.
Do you have that problem, or is that something you had and it's gone away?
Smoke
or-
a lot of weed.
Okay.
So you can modulate your sleep patterns if you smoke weed, you see.
Okay.
So I know if I go home and I'm high off the gig. Well, in the early days,
Yeah.
that's why a lot of entertainers drink and take
Yeah.
drugs, because you're up and you're high and you want to keep that going.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult, isn't it? Because like I say, 10 p.m. could be your 9 a.m. in the office, couldn't it?
Exactly.
So you go home and you don't want to sleep, do you? So
No.
I mean,
Bilal
obviously,
does these-
I don't want to condone
Bilal
anything that's
does all these
illegal.
twee
but
gigs that
I
start
think
at 6
smoking
p.m.
weed.
No, I don't.
Start smoking weed. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
And
that's
you
the
have a couple of
advice.
spliffs and you go to sleep nicely. You know, that's obviously it's illegal, and I wouldn't be condoning that publicly on a podcast.
No,
But
but
I
as
think
the
you'll find-
character,
Yeah,
that's
in my
the sort of
case,
thing your
yeah, the
character would say.
As a performance, yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, sure.
But it's great if you're going home feeling high off of gigs. That's a great place to be, isn't it?
It is,
Who
yeah.
cares
I
about
do
the
love
sleep
it.
when you? The most important thing is that your gig went well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then that's what you hold on to. You think, oh, okay, so I'm not going to sleep, but what a great gig. And that's why we do it, isn't it? For that joy, I think.
it certainly isn't for waiting 120 days for you to get paid £60.
That's right. It's been more than that. It's been a year.
I'll be around there by now, mate.
What
Don't
do
worry
you
about
do
that.
if someone owes you?
I'll go around there.
You go around there. Okay, I'll go around.
I
there.
don't-
I'm from a tradition of I'm going down there. You know, like my parents are like, I'm going down to effing school.
Yeah.
I'm from that tradition of, right, I'm going to go down there.
So my dad's very like this. When I moved into Kentish Town with my girlfriend at the time, as we was loading stuff in, some guy shouted something at us. So, and then he went into the pub across the road, and my dad went, right, we'll just go down there.
Yeah.
We walked in the pub, and then he just went, right, who shouted at us? Who's got a problem? And no one. And then that was it. You just got to go
Do you know what
down
the
there.
guy shouted?
Sometimes you just got to
I
go
don't know.
down there.
Did he shout welcome?
It's an old school way of dealing with situations, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to go down there. But at the school, and when you go home from school, my mum would go, right, I'm going to go down that school.
Yeah.
So I still retain that going down there attitude about situations.
Yeah.
But
Have you ever had to go down there to get paid for a gig?
well, I have.
I feel like people would
I have
pay you.
taken
If they're
people-
only going to pay one person, I feel like it might be
Well, I have taken people, 2 occasions, taken them to the cash point before.
Right.
Who's going to say to court?
I'm not going to say who their names are.
No,
One of
don't
them is
say
probably
them.
someone who everyone would go, oh, yeah, I can imagine it would be him.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't remember the other one, but I've done it a couple of times.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know what, I'm just impatient as well.
Yeah.
I think what it is a bit of my old self creeping into this profession, you know, 'cause
Yeah,
we
yeah.
all bring out our own old lives and traditions into what is largely a sort of art, creative, middle class
Absolutely.
profession.
But one thing that you bring into it that people might not know about, because you are quite a good dresser on stage.
Oh,
yeah?
I do like
you used
clothes,
to
yeah.
You used to work in fashion.
Well, yeah, I was actually, I did that for 15 years.
Yeah.
I was a window dresser. I don't know if people know what that is anymore. It's the people who do the windows, people who put stuff in the windows, which is largely outmoded now, but you see it in department stores.
Yeah,
Selfridges,
sure.
Fenwick's particularly are very good, Harrods. But in the I started doing that in about 1970, Kings Road, Carnaby
Oh,
Street.
right. Yeah.
Lord John. It was quite a glamorous job for a
Yeah.
working class bloke that was going up the West End from Canning Town and seeing film stars coming in to buy stuff. But it was a fantastic job and it was a bit arty. But I started out, my first job was for Mr. Byrights, and I don't know if anyone remembers Mr. Byrights. They were like a cheap, pile 'em high and set it cheap kind of
Oh, right.
men's clothes shop. They were everywhere in Oxford. They had about 6 in Oxford Street alone.
Oh.
And I had a Saturday job in East Ham, Mr. Byrights. They were quite a trendy shop then, and that's how it started.
And
so,
am I right in thinking, was this you? I can't imagine who else it would be that told me that you had to babysit Alan Sugar.
oh no, it wasn't Alan Sugar. It was the Spurs guy.
Oh,
Well, Alan
Daniel
Sugar
Levy.
was Spurs.
Daniel
Right,
Levy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right,
Are you a
there we
Spurs
go.
fan? Then,
No,
as well?
I
Yeah.
was.
He's put
Well, what it was
scumbag.
is the Levy, the Levy brothers, Jeffrey and Barry.
Great
Right.
album.
Right, they were the sons of the owner, who was Lou Levy. He started out Mr. Byrights on a stall in about '69 in Angel Lane, Stratford, selling Ben Shermans and Levi's to the skinheads. That's how he started in it. Developed from there, and they were his sons, Jeffrey and Barry, and Daniel was their son.
Oh, right,
I can't
okay.
remember which one. So I, on more than one occasion, had to babysit Daniel Levy when they brought him into the shop
Yeah.
I even went round to their house to do some babysitting. They lived in Forest Gate then.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
It's near me.
Well, Forest Gate also had a big Jewish community for many years. It was one of the first places that Jewish people moved out to from the East End. Probably the nearest place. There was some big houses there. There was a synagogue there as well. And so I babysat Daniel Levy.
How old was he? Like 5 or something?
Oh no, like 3 or so. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
up to 5.
Could you tell he was going to destroy Spurs?
Well, yeah.
I mean, we've still not bought any players.
I can't remember who owned Spurs then. I think this is pre-Alan Sugar days.
Right.
Who was it before?
I mean, I can't remember who the manager was.
God knows, man.
Is the name Birkinshaw? Was he ever?
Yeah, Keith Birkinshaw.
I think Keith Birkinshaw was the manager then. I'm not really good on football, but I got that right though, did
You
I?
got that right.
So yeah, so I've always been into fashion and always. I mean, I just love clothes in a almost an obsessional, addictive way. So I'm quite happy to spend hours at home going through my clothes and
Cool.
looking at them and touching them. And
You got massive cupboards.
Well, what I do is I don't have wardrobes. I have clothes rails. You know, clothes rails you get in shop because it's easier.
Yeah.
And you get more stuff on, and you're not going in and out of a wardrobe. But my daughter's inherited that as well. One of my daughters, she's about 40, and I went to see her about 3 weeks ago, and I was in Hastings doing one of the solo shows, and she curated her wardrobe for me. And I sat there, and she went through the outfits and where she got them from, and I couldn't be any happier. Actually, yeah, I know. Does that sound?
That sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay.
Too nice for you, Jeff.
Yeah. I suppose. So,
We'll cut all that.
Yeah, we'll cut that out. Yeah.
We'll just leave in the bits about fighting.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, Jeff, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, and you are a slightly dodgy character. That's how you come across.
Okay, thank
So
you.
we do have to check that
Thank you very much.
you're actually a fit
Kosher?
and proper person to be on the podcast.
Okay.
And Bilal's got 5 questions he wants to ask you to
5
make
questions,
sure that
okay.
you can continue on the podcast.
You didn't prepare me with these questions, did you?
No,
Usually
nobody
I
gets
do.
prepared for
no,
these.
This is how you like it to be, yeah?
This is
These are 5 questions. It's called Vet the Guest, where we check if you're appropriate.
So
for
you
the
ask these
podcast.
questions, everyone gets asked these
Yeah.
same
Well,
questions.
they're
Different
always
questions.
different.
They're not
like
always
like
different. Sometimes
personality
you're very
test.
lazy.
Don't.
Okay.
Question 1: favorite Olympic event?
Oh, okay.
You watched any of it?
Well, I mean, I would watch a lot of the Olympics if it wasn't, but there's no access to watching the Olympics. All there's access to is watching GB in the Olympics. I haven't been able to find any general coverage where this is about the Olympics. The only thing I seem to be getting is how are Team GB doing the Olympics.
Okay.
BBC are obsessed with Team
Yeah.
GB. Whereas I'd like to watch the Olympics. Do you remember that old programme used to come on Saturday mornings? Eurosport.
Oh, yeah.
It was completely different because it wasn't biased in any way.
But there is still Eurosport, and it's a free channel.
Oh, there's an actual channel.
Yeah,
to Eurosport.
it's its own channel now.
There's enough
But
though.
I would probably say it's going to be the sprint events, 200 and 100 metres.
That was yesterday. 100 meters.
Yeah,
sprint,
but what I
USA.
mean is that's probably would be my favorite. I mean, I enjoy
It's
watching
good.
the boxing because I like boxing, but I think
Did you go to any when it was in London?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I went to some
I
Paralympic
didn't
stuff.
go.
It was amazing.
At school, were you good at any of those
I was
type
good
of track
at-
and field?
Yeah, I was. I was sort of probably not so good at like shot putting or javelin like the field events, but certainly I might have been the fastest runner in the school.
Wow.
In fact, I've got a joke about it, haven't I? Should I do the joke? We're allowed to
You can
do.
do- you can
Well,
do
it's
the
not.
joke.
It's not a joke that
Jeff, in
I
essence,
only
now
do
we're
this
gonna do a
joke
bit.
in front of a black audience, okay? Because it doesn't work with a white audience.
Okay.
And it's more or less this, yeah. Yeah, you're looking at me now as a really old bloke, yeah. But when I was young and at school in the late '60s, I held all the records for almost everything. Swimming, running, boxing, all of that. And then what happened is all the kids from the Empire Windrush turned up in my school, lost every record overnight, but not the swimming. Come on!
Yeah. Do you do a lot of those black?
Yeah, look, I told
gigs?
you I said it for a black
Yeah,
audience.
he's
Yeah,
loved it,
see.
But it is interesting because you're.
But that's more or less true, though, actually.
It is interesting though because you're one of the few white comedians that can actually do the black circuit.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, I've probably got, almost not an entirely other act, but I've probably got a real lot of stuff that I can do with a black audience that I don't do with a white audience. Stuff about my being white and my experience because I grew up in a sort of post Windrush I'm a recipient of the of Windrush. Really, I'm that age group. You know, I'm coming of age at the same mid-70s as early 70s, mid-70s as all the first generation of kids from Windrush parents are coming of age and coming to school. So, you know, I was into Jamaican music when I, you know, quite early on. So I'm actually one of those people
really
that's totally
cooking as well.
I'm really watching.
Yeah, whenever I'm like, "What'd you have for dinner?" in the car, you're always like,
Yeah.
I think Jamaican stew.
Yeah, you know, so I am somebody that's embraced all of that. Really, yeah.
Lovely. Question 2. What's the best pasta?
What you mean out of the different shapes?
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, now I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it's
You can just
conchigli or
describe it.
something.
Conchigli.
The one that's like a little, that's round and captures the meat in a little round.
Yeah, it's like a little
is
shallow.
It conchigli?
Yeah, I think it is. Let me look it up.
Well,
Google
for some
it.
reason, I'm finding it hard to get that in
Oh.
wholemeal because there was a big pasta crisis or wheat
that?
crisis over the last year or so. I don't know if you. And most of the major supermarkets were doing that one, but not as a wholemeal version.
Oh, that's the one you have.
But that's the one I like because when you're cooking a say
That
like,
one, the shells.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
the
when
shells.
you're-
Yeah,
shell-
yeah.
shell pasta.
I love,
Should have called
I
it
love-
shell pasta.
Yeah,
Shell
sorry,
pasta.
I'm thick.
But when you're cooking, obviously
that.
when you're cooking a chili or something, the shells capture the meat. They're like,
Even if it's just sauce.
they're
like
my
holds it.
favourite. I mean, does anyone say go for other ones? Anyone go for other types of pasta?
What was it?
No, I don't want to
Spaghetti
say.
like-
They do.
Last week we had a
They
girl I
do.
knew had do like bow ties.
No, they're dead to me, those people. Yeah. In fact, I want to know where they live.
Question 3. What do you think about aliens?
Well, I think as long as they behave themselves, as long as they make the effort to sort of integrate
yeah.
culturally,
Yeah.
I think it'll all work out okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good.
We
That's
don't
a
need
good
to
answer.
riot. Question 4. Had any good dreams lately?
I have a bit of a reoccurring dream that is clothes related,
Oh.
and so I don't think it's symbolic. I don't think it has any Freudian symbolism.
Oh, let's
it's just
see.
basically I've got this. I think what it is, I'm always tracking down like an item of clothing until I'm satisfied, and I think it plays on my mind, and I dream about it. So I dream a lot about going to army surplus stores and finding the right combat trousers.
Wow.
Or jackets or something.
That's very specific.
Yeah, it really is, yeah. And I think it's almost directly related to the fact that I am still on this never-ending search for the right combat trousers.
Would you say it's like an anxiety dream, or is it all very positive?
Could be anxiety, yeah, but
maybe.
I think it's still to do. I mean, I don't know why I don't know what it's related to. Why I should be obsessed with finding the right combats? Why can't I just go? Yeah, they're all right. I've got about 6 different pairs of green combats. So I'm searching for the right.
But I'm a
leg,
bit like that.
the
If
right
you know,
packets.
sort of like French workwear overshirt.
Yeah,
you know, his
yeah.
blue jackets.
Are you in
I'm always
search of
looking for them.
Right.
The right
so
one.
I'm never
I
satisfied.
get that. I totally get that.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Lovely answer. And final question: if you were American, would you have a gun?
Well, I suppose yeah. I would,
Yeah,
yeah.
me
I
too,
mean,
man.
if I was English, I'd have a gun. you know.
Yeah.
What are you saying? He's got a gun.
Yeah. Well, I remember people talking about, because a lot of the certainly in East London, a lot of the guys who came back from the war brought guns back with them. I mean, guns were have been part of crime in East London for many years. In fact, the early gangs at the the Blind Beggar is usually associated with the Cray twins. There's a pub in Mile End Road called the Blind Beggar where Ronnie Cray shot George Cornell and got nicked for it, and that's what put them away. But the Blind Beggar at the turn of the century was the base for the Odessians, which were a criminal gang of Jews and Russians. Because all those early Cockney gangs were Jewish and Russian. So there was already a culture of crime, but they all had guns as well. You know, like when you watch Oliver. In reality, they all had guns. Those people. So I would have a gun.
I love this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have a gun.
I'd like to have
Can
a
you
gun.
get Bilal a gun?
Can you get me
Yeah,
a
I mean,
gun?
you know.
He knows
All right.
people.
All right. Great.
But
Lovely.
you can. I have seen guns and touched them. Now I'm not. I'm not.
Get them prints. Is that what the flannel's for? Wiping the prints off?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and the stuff, the chemical that gets on your hands when
Oh, yeah.
they're swabbing you down
Yeah.
after an
I
incident.
listen to a lot of murder podcasts. I know what's up.
Congratulations, Jeff. That was
Oh,
brilliant.
cool. I'm glad I did that. Thank you.
You scored 4,700 points.
Oh,
That's
I like
very
that.
high. You can stay on
One
the
of those
podcast.
punching machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what people maybe don't know is that you actually. Normally we sort of skip past this. We just got chatting at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say in my intro that you are quite possibly like the most bulletproof comedian on the circuit, I would say.
Ooh.
I've never seen you personally.
Oh,
I've never
okay.
seen you have a bad gig. And what a lot of people won't know is that in lockdown, when I was trying to like change my shtick and get better at this, you were the person that helped me change how I did my
well,
comedy.
thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
And it would, I mean, that was a good. We worked well together there. I think, I don't know about the bulletproof thing. I've been doing it for a long time, so I know how to not fail as well. Yeah, I guess
When it's not going quite right, shut up shop and get something out of it.
Yeah. But as far as you're concerned, well, in many ways, what you needed to do probably would have been obvious to anyone, really. Not, it just
not-
was just a very
not me.
simple adjustment. So I just pushed him in a direction. I'm not responsible for his talent in any way whatsoever. Often, because I do comedy workshops, or I have done in the past, and often it's just about showing someone something. You're not actually. They come with their talent, and you just say, well, try in that direction. And he made. You just changed beautifully, didn't you? Really, and it's been you've done really well over the last couple of years, haven't you? Every time I see you, he looks better, and some new stuff, and the whole persona's looking easier. So
I told you to be a good guest.
So yeah, Joey's done great, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's very sweet.
And Bilal, also, you'll like this. It's only $4,000 for Jeff to change your career.
Right.
You wanna?
Yeah, but if I don't pay on time.
Yeah, if you don't pay on it'll be round.
Walk to the cash machine.
with a gun. Gun in one hand, Krav Maga at the ready with the other.
Yeah. Krav Maga.
No.
I can show you a couple of. I mean, in fact, actually, what happened? I got attacked on stage, didn't I?
What?
Remember, I got attacked on stage,
Right.
and it was actually women, so it wasn't something we could make a video out of. It wouldn't have looked good.
He absolutely battered them.
But what happened is, of course, when you've done martial arts, or even if you can fight, you have a repertoire of moves that just come like muscle memory.
Yeah.
And
Don't say you've got no idea what he's talking
I
about.
thought she was going to throw a glass of wine over me. About 3 or 4 of them attacked the stage because they didn't like my act. They thought I'd been racist. And I was just worried about the wine, and before the bouncers quite got there, so I managed to stick a little neck move on her. And it sounds like bullying, but I was sort of thinking she might throw wine over me, so I had to stop her. And I just remember seeing the look on her face where, when people are drunk and they get involved in something, they realise
I've gone
they
too
shouldn't
far.
really be doing this. So Krav Maga I found quite useful even as a comedian to defend myself.
Maybe you should teach us a move.
I could teach you a couple of moves. We haven't really got
No.
space.
Can you do anything from sitting down?
Well, just you can turn people's wrists. That's quite. I mean,
I'm
so-
going around.
Joey
I'm
goes
going
to
I'm
attack
coming around
you.
to attack.
So obviously, audio listeners, this
Can we
is
do
where
it
you
sit
might.
down?
You can sit down.
Yeah, you stay there. Joey will come and attack
Well, actually,
you.
funnily enough, Krav Maga is supposed to prepare you for all kinds of situations.
Yeah, right.
And they used to have a day where you went to Plumstead bus garage, and there was you had a session upstairs about how to fight upstairs on a bus.
Oh.
Yeah.
specific.
I think if you're sitting down,
If I wanted your seat on this bus.
So audio
Yeah.
listeners, you want to go on YouTube.
okay.
And
Well,
I'm gonna
I mean,
see
a
this.
very simple thing I do is just turn your wrists and pull you down like that. See,
Right.
see how you're down. You can't.
Yeah.
Just one
I
hand.
could spin back though.
Yeah,
Whatever.
right there I could just, there's all, Krav Maga is about grabbing the nose,
Yeah.
putting your finger in there. Sorry,
Is
that
it?
Oh,
can-
you're all right.
but just very simple things that people don't realise.
remember.
Yeah, I'd go
turn
like
that. Just
that.
gonna turn
These
that.
are very simple moves.
Yeah.
But what
If
you're
I
looking
went
to
for
do,
a headbutt, if I came in like.
what I'd probably do is pull you down like that. Then step back, pull you down. These are very simple moves that you can do if you're having your dinner in a wheelchair. but Well, I mean, I think. Look, you're going to make me sound like I'm a sort of violent person.
No, I don't.
It's
No, we're not.
It's just about.
It's defence.
I think it is really is about how to get out of a situation. I'm not promoting it as an attack thing. It really is about, you're in it's a quick, and it's all very. These situations are always a mess. Fights are always a mess. Well, I had a little. I don't want to glorify this, but I had an encounter with a bouncer. Didn't I tell you
you've
about
told me
that?
about this, yeah.
And I strictly put some moves on him. I know exactly what moves I put on him, and they just came automatically. The thing is, when I was younger, what you do is, and you used to get into fights, it's all about anger. So you might be angry and you might be strong and might be able to fight, but I've found that it's best to just get rid of the anger and use technique if you get in a situation. I had a situation with a bouncer. He wasn't the biggest bouncer in the world, I'm going to be honest, and he's probably not the most experienced because he didn't deal with me very well. But I went to go past him. He thought I was just a crazy guy turning up at a gig, but I was actually the comedian.
The headliner.
And he couldn't work out who I was. So
Right.
he was holding me up and I was late for the gig. So I thought, oh, look, fuck this. And I went to go past and he grabbed hold of me. So and I didn't even think about it, automatically put a few moves on him, which didn't get rid of him straight away, so it became a little prolonged scuffle.
Broke his neck.
But in the end, I got the better of him, which
Yeah.
surprised even me, really, because I'm an old man now. And I have to say, I did feel a bit stiff and slow. It felt like it was in slow motion, but it was still good enough to win the situation. But he did a code red. He was on the floor going, code red, code red. And I thought, this is ludicrous. I'm in my late 60s. You're a young, healthy man.
You've got your scooter.
And then suddenly all the other bouncers came and all stood round me, and I thought
This is like a scene in a film.
Yeah, it was.
You had to batter all of them.
But I was thinking, actually, I've been
And then
watching.
do a tight 20.
I've been watching a few Jason Statham films
course.
lately.
Yeah.
I've become a bit of a fan, actually.
Yeah.
I love the formulas.
Have you seen Mega Shark or whatever it's called?
Is that him?
Meg.
Is it? No,
The
that's
Meg,
not him,
the
is it?
Meg,
Is
yeah.
that him?
The Meg is him.
But there's always a gang of sort of Russians or some sort of Eastern European type gang where they have a bloke who looks like me, who he hasn't got good intentions. He often gets killed, but I've been thinking there's always some sort of bald bloke with a mean face in every gang. So that's the look I'm going for
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah, okay.
But Jason Statham, he's funny, isn't it? I mean, they must make a film a week.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I mean,
Yeah, if you look at the quality of
I
it,
mean,
it
and it's always. I love the formula. He's an ex. They're either ex-SAS or ex-Special Forces or ex some secret government army, and so they've got all these amazing skills. And maybe his daughter gets kidnapped. That's another one.
You
Yeah.
should watch a film called Nobody with
Okay.
Ben Odenkirk. You know him?
No.
Yeah, the Saul Goodman guy.
You mean
know
Bob
him.
Odenkirk?
Did I say Bob? What did I
Ben.
say? I didn't say Ben.
You said Ben.
I said Ben Odenkirk.
Yeah.
I think I said Bob.
No, you didn't.
Bob Odenkirk. It's that kind of thing, but it's
Okay.
brilliant. It's
Yeah,
amazing.
I love any films where it's about an ex-Special Forces
Yeah, but
guy
it's a bit secret.
His daughter gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
Of course, one of the classic ones is the guy with Steven Seagal where he plays a chef on a ship. What's that one called? That's his best film.
That's
sounds great.
Conchigli. That's called.
Gotcha. Yeah, he plays a chef on a ship, but actually he's an ex-Special
Al dente.
Forces
Of
guy
course he
that even
is.
trained everyone.
Still
so
a bit hard.
All these terrorists try to take over the ship, and then he's killing them off one by one, and then they realise who he is. And they're going, but he trained you. It's fantastically corny. That's the only film that's watchable of Steven Seagal.
Oh, they're bad, yeah.
They're just
Well,
not
have you
watchable.
seen Steven Seagal's reality TV show where he's joined the police?
Oh,
And they're
that
filming
is
it.
just so awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so bad.
And they recognise him as well,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
they?
I need
so
to
he goes
wa-
around.
How have they even
Come round
allowed
and
that?
watch it.
Whoa, yeah.
How have they even allowed that?
I don't know. Because he's doing it. He's just volunteering. He's not getting paid.
Yeah.
My God.
He's
But
volunteering
Jason
with his local
Statham,
police.
sometimes he even attempts to do an American accent.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
that's really
yeah, I
bad.
know.
Very bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Awful.
bad.
How can it be that bad? You think you'd get
Yeah,
a top
well, he's
coach?
not really an actor, is he? In the sense that we understand actors, he's just a sort of action figure, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's terrible at acting.
No,
but
there's
his
But his
still-
accent.
accent.
There's
Yeah,
something.
just make him English.
There's something
They're already
about
making him
that's very
ex-SAS,
attractive.
make him
My
English.
girlfriend would run away with him. I mean, I think
Oh,
she just thinks he's so gorgeous.
is that
Well,
what?
He used
Watch
to be a
it.
diver. He used to be an Olympic
Oh, yeah, I know.
standard
Oh,
diver,
yeah.
you know.
So
Jason
weird,
Statham.
isn't it? So what happened with the bouncer? Did you talk to him after and say, "Look, sorry
Well,
for
actually, I'm glad you remind me of that
Yeah.
because I need to go back and burn that venue down.
Oh,
which is one of my other things, yeah? I do that a lot. I'm one of those, I'm going to fucking come back and burn you down. I'm one of those kind of people. I can't walk. One of those people that walk away and then come back again. You know those sort of people, they have an argument and walk away.
Yeah, but
they
that's not
know,
the last
I haven't
you've
had my
seen of them.
satisfaction. I've got to go back.
Okay.
Leave it, Jeff. It just ain't worth it. I'm one of those
Piling
kinds
in.
of people.
yeah.
And
Oh,
I'm
well,
trying-
we'll come.
Well, I've
And
actually stopped
bad
doing
news
that.
for you, Bilal, because Jeff's coming back to the podcast next week.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
I've
do
had
it
to
down.
stop doing that because why have I had to stop doing? Because now I'm famous. People see you in the street, and it's not going to look good, is it?
So, but before we move on to the problem section of the podcast, tell us a bit about this, because really it's social media that has like changed your trajectory.
Yeah. So I was doing comedy for I'd just say 27 years.
Yeah.
It only happened not the April just gone, the April before. So it's just April, May, June, just about a year and a couple of months. April, June, July. My sidekick Sam Piccone, who's also a comedian, but he's more. He's also does comedy production, and he used to be a production assistant. So he's very
He's like
media
Instagram
savvy.
whisperer.
He said, let's put out a couple of clips, and they just took off. Like 3 clips got me to 100,000 followers on Instagram
Amazing.
within a month.
Damn.
And I think part of that is because you look so different to all the other comedians that you're scrolling through Instagram and seeing, like,
it
well,
must be.
what's this big imposing guy
And I use
about,
material
you know?
as well rather than crowd work.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we made sure that everything I
very
said
nice.
was worth saying
yeah.
and was a good joke or part of a bigger routine. So it's it's not false modesty. The stuff's the best stuff I've got. Let's put it that way. So Sam had the idea, and I just provide the material. But and it took off, and it just so quickly.
20 times a day.
Within a month, I and how my life is now is, I would say, every day probably have to do 2 or 3 selfies at the very least, but also have
Wow.
to say hello to about 6 people.
But I'm worried that one of your fans will run up and touch you, and then you'll get them down on the
Well,
floor.
yeah, that
And
could
then it's
happen.
Code red.
That could happen.
Code Red.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's your next show, Code Red.
Code red is it?
Yeah. I might get my own Jason Statham type movies,
might.
mightn't I?
That would be. I'd watch that.
Code red.
People think
Yeah.
he's passed, but he's still got it in
But
the
that's
locker.
become part of my life now. Even sometimes I'd leave the house, and also you forget because it's happened so quickly. It's not like being on TV where you probably build fame over months. You know, if I was on EastEnders, after 6 months or something, people would recognise me. This
I'd love to
almost
see you
within
on
a week.
EastEnders.
Almost within a week, people wouldn't even knock. People would even knock on the door. I have neighbours knock on the door and go, "I thought it was you," and they want selfies. So it's selfies. People stop you, but it's all really affectionate. So it's
very sweet.
it's
Well, do you
beautiful.
know what? Like, it's happened in the time I've been working with you.
Yeah,
and he
sure.
used to be so nice.
Yeah, I've
Now
changed.
he's
I don't know
changed.
you
Now
anymore.
he's changed.
I don't know you.
He was calling me Johnny.
It's been it's a lot of fun, and the selfie thing is just part of the job. I think you can't resist it. You can't say no. But people, I've been on. I mean, you forget because now I go out. I'll leave here and forget that's. And I might be sitting on the tube, and someone will see you from the other end of the tube, no matter how packed it is, and you can see them see you. You can see them recognise you, and they will climb over the other passengers to get to have a selfie.
It's quite scary.
I was on a tube a couple of weeks ago, and a woman and a bloke, they sat down, and she sat down in front of me, and she looked up, she went, "Oh my God, I can't believe it's you sitting here on the tube." So that's an everyday thing.
So have you started your tour yet, or are you about to
Halfway
start?
through,
Halfway
resume
through.
it in September.
And
yeah.
have this that must have really helped the sales, right? It's all been good.
That's why he's done
What's
it.
helped the sales?
All the social
Instagram.
media, the Instagram.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, I think how it works is maybe 100,000 followers translates into an audience that will buy tickets so that you can do a tour. Maybe even less than that. But if you want to do a tour of 300, 400 seaters, 100,000 followers, whereas that doesn't work the same on TikTok, for example, but
No.
for some reason on Instagram, that it monetizes through the live shows rather than,
That's what we got to
how
do.
we are on YouTube or whatever.
And you got any merch?
Well, we did talk about merch. What I really wanted to do was have merch. We were going to do flannels
yeah.
as merch, or flat caps, because I wear caps as well a lot, Kango caps, if anyone from Kango is out there. But what I really wanted to do was sell the merch from the back of a van in the car park. I thought it'd really work well for
Yeah.
that. But
then you could do anything, couldn't you? Just
Well,
it would
yeah.
have your name and your face on it,
or just no anything to do.
Like
Just some
old
I've got some old
microwaves,
radios
you know what I mean?
here, yeah, with no link to my
Like
brand or
Delboy.
anything. Yeah.
I just finished. Well, I've nearly finished my little tour, and I've been selling merch for the first time, and it's great.
Right.
If you sell it, like you say, if you sell it yourself,
He's
people
doing
love.
tea towels.
Well, the problem
Tea
is
towels have been
I
brilliant.
wouldn't really want to sit at a desk and sell merch after the show.
That's
It
the
wouldn't
problem.
work because partly that I'm now trapped with the audience, not in a horrible way, but they want to spend time with you, so it would take ages and ages. And I don't know. I think it depends on what sort of status you've got on stage. I don't know if it
Sure.
would look right for me to
Okay.
be a high status comedian.
Well, you can get
and
the
then-
venue to do it.
Well, you can, and then there's more money involved. But we've got
Yeah.
one or two really nice ideas for merch, and I think we're going to do it not at the venue, but online. Do it that way.
Okay, yeah.
That's
That's a good idea.
So we
It
are
really helps because especially like sometimes tours take ages to pay,
sure.
and for me, I'm still it's still going to
Okay,
be a
fair
few
enough.
weeks.
I understand
and
that.
selling the merch.
Well,
at
go
least.
down there.
I covered
Go
all the
down there.
Go down there. I covered all my travel and hotels and
Okay.
stuff, which was
That's great.
not been able to do that in the past.
That's great.
Well,
Well.
if you want to see Jeff on tour, you can get
Are we
tickets
come
from
to the
his.
end?
No,
Have we
not
done
quite.
an
No,
hour?
no, we
Oh.
got a little. I'm
Okay.
just doing a little.
I'm very relaxed and enjoying
good.
this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Me too.
Glad.
I said it was key to keep him relaxed.
Yeah.
Yes, he
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
it.
Make sure
Don't
you slide.
creep up on him.
Where are my sliders, by the way?
they're in my bag.
You talked big. Yeah?
They're in my bag.
Okay.
I'm legging it at the end. I've forgotten.
Well, yeah.
And so, where can people get tickets? JeffInnocent.com. Have you got a
Oh,
website?
yeah.
or is it
So,
just your-
jeffinnocent.com is the website where you can see where tickets are. Instagram, if you want to see what sort of stuff I do and all of that, is Jeff Innocent Official.
Yeah, great.
So I think
And
that's really
if
easy,
people are here because they've just come because Jeff's on the podcast, if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe. It really helps us. And if you want to sign up for the extra content that we do, then you can join our Patreon as well.
Please.
Also, if you've got a problem, email it in at gotaproblemmate@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we're going to come on to the problems part of the podcast, and then we can release you back into the wild to go and set fire to
Well,
whatever
I'm
venue
actually,
you
when I
need to
leave
set
here,
fire
I'm
to.
going to go to the Harry Christian restaurant and have something to eat.
Oh yeah,
Oh, nice.
just
I
over
love
there.
going in there.
Oh, nice.
And of course, they think I'm one of them, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
So I get a bit of discount.
Is that why you brought your orange robe?
No, I remember when I was younger and coming shopping with my mum in Oxford Street, and Harry Christian people were trying to give you sweets to eat, and she said she wouldn't let me eat them because she said it will turn you into one of them.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, problems. Did you say
Problems. So,
You asked me to come with a problem.
yeah, we've all
didn't
got a problem. So, Bilal,
Shall I
do you
go
want to start with
first?
yours?
I've just, I mean, it's not a major thing, but I've just moved house, live in a nice block of flats with my wife. We've met our next door neighbour. He's very lovely. Bumped into him, all of that. How do I go about? I do want to know everyone in the building. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to be like, keep myself to myself. I think it's nice to know your neighbours.
Okay.
I did see one of my neighbours picking raspberries downstairs, and she was being really like suspicious and weird about it. Didn't really say hello. How do I go about befriending my neighbours? What's the best way?
I think the best thing to do is, and it's difficult because you don't drink,
Yeah.
but I would just be like, pop a note through some doors and be like, Saturday afternoon, we're having a couple of drinks.
Schlur.
Up you
It'll be Schlur.
Yeah,
Schlur,
I was
fancy.
thinking of something like
But
that.
the problem is then you've got them in your flat, and then if I
gonna
don't like
touch
it, it's
stuff
the
I
other
don't
way
want.
for me. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to know my neighbours too much because I don't want them always being like, what you doing today?
Oh no,
Like,
I don't
would-
want that.
No.
No.
Well, I think this might be just one of those things that takes time, where you get to bump into them over time,
Should I wait for them?
and it happen naturally.
Why don't you just wait outside a couple of
I'll
doors?
just wait outside the
What-
doors.
what's the setup? Is it a block of flats or
Yeah,
something?
but it's not a lot of flats. It's 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the building.
I don't think you should force a thing like that because it might be careful what you wish for, and you don't really want to get to know some of them.
Okay.
I think what happens is usually, naturally, that relationship will develop as you bump into them, as you have those little exchanges over the rubbish bin, or you ask someone to pick up a parcel. I think you've got to give that time. I don't think you can force a thing like that.
Okay.
Also, I just think you say hello,
Hello.
and that's it. And then the next time,
Bye.
how are you? And then
How are
it
you?
just grows
Yeah.
organically.
And
Like,
in the end, you're having sex.
That is the aim.
Yeah.
Like where my girlfriend lives, I feel a bit weird about talking to her neighbours because I don't live there. Do you know what I mean? So I'll always say hello to them, but I haven't
You're
introduced
there a
myself.
lot.
Yeah, but I don't introduce myself. I'm just like, how's it going? All right.
And then run away.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend lives in a block as well where there's different people, but she's lived there for a while and she's very gregarious, so she seems to know everybody. But I don't care whether I'm okay to say hello with them, but I don't know if I need to know them
No.
necessarily.
They know you, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
They buy a
They
ticket.
know not to take liberties.
Okay. Do you want to do?
So I'd just calm down on that if I were you and not worry about it.
All
Let
right,
it
take
happen.
it easy.
Let it happen organically.
Okay.
My problem is almost identical, but the opposite.
Oh.
The opposite. So, it was my birthday recently. My girlfriend bought me a very nice sound system. It's a vinyl record player with an amp and some speakers from the 70s, some JR4s. I don't know if you know what they are, Jeff,
No,
but I didn't know, but they were the ones that in the 70s, they were the speakers that people would listen to their master of their record on to see how it would sound at its best, and then work out if they needed to make any changes before pressing the record. Now, because over time in my flat, I've had people back to my flat. Obviously, I've got neighbours below me and either side. I'm very careful about the kind of speakers that I've had in my flat previously. I've had a Bluetooth speaker that only goes so loud, which means it doesn't matter how drunk or whatever somebody gets, they can only turn it up so loud, and it won't affect the neighbours because it isn't that good a speaker. Now, I've got all this power, and I'm a bit scared to use it.
Sure.
But I want to enjoy the present, but I don't, like, she'll be like, listen to the bass on this. I'm like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah,
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The lady next door might
Well,
be
yeah, I mean,
watching her programs or whatever.
I come from a tradition of having big speakers in my house at all times.
Well, I've seen your
I've got
music room.
massive big speakers, but I'm in an old-fashioned house with thick brick walls and all that, so I don't really.
Well, mine's
worry
ex-council
about the
flat,
neighbours.
and I think it
So
is.
that, yeah, I think you're going to have to. It's going to have little sessions every now and again, and yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to use those to their fullest.
No, I'm going to have to
limit
move.
in that situation. Yeah, but I've found Saturday daytimes is acceptable.
Okay.
Hard for people to complain, isn't it? Saturday lunchtime.
Yeah.
And maybe if you know who's right above you or next door.
Make sure, see if they're out.
But I would say Saturday lunchtimes you always just have a session and I mean it's only once a week, but still
Good to give them a go.
That's my advice.
Because I've been to your house.
Well,
and
I've
you've
got,
a very extensive music room and
yeah,
set up
yeah,
loads of
my,
records, your decks.
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, is that when you're having or do you just do it any time
I
you
mean,
like?
I find that daytime, Saturday or Sunday, is when I usually have big sessions where I crank it up. And I mean, I've got 400 watt, 15-inch bass bins in my house, and they, the windows rattle old school. But that's how I like it.
Yeah.
But I think every now and again, neighbours, you have to let it go. I'd let it go if it's all the time. But I don't think my house is old and brick, and I don't think it causes that much fuss, But I think in council houses it can be a problem. Unless you just have an old blues party and charge people to come in and do it that way, so that a bit like so they can come and enjoy the speakers.
If they want to enjoy the speakers, they got. Yeah. And I say to the neighbours, for you, it's free.
Yeah. So that's one way around it.
$4,000.
Me?
Yeah.
But it might also be what kind of music you're playing as well. I mean, what?
Well, I'll be careful here because you've been in my
yeah,
car.
but I don't
music,
know what you play at home though necessarily.
Well, I just got like a mixture of records. I have got some reggae stuff that I got off my dad. But obviously it's like, we had, what did we have in the car the other week?
Oh, we have
Bowie, Black Keys.
Yeah,
I got records of the kind of stuff, Paul Weller, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too much dance music, really.
Okay.
A bit of hip hop.
Well, that's very powerful on the bass, isn't it? Hip hop.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if I can get some sort of limiter.
Is that I don't know.
I don't know. Because then
Can you?
if I'm having a party, I don't always have to be.
But it doesn't have to be. When we were at yours the other day, the speaker was not too
that
loud.
that's because I used the Bluetooth one.
Yeah, but can't you have your big speakers at that level? Because that was quite good.
But anyone could turn it up.
Right, you're scared.
Yeah, that people.
Oh, okay. Just tell them not to.
I think you've got to go with your girlfriend a little bit, because I'm like you. I think you got to just go. Let's just do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
I think you've got to. Might have to have a couple of moments of just letting it go.
Let it go.
Let
See,
it
I'm
go.
too nice, despite what people think
Yeah,
on this
that's what
podcast.
it
I'm
is.
too nice. Jeff,
Okay.
what problem have you brought for us?
I've got loads, and I didn't know. I didn't really know what to come with because I've got a lot of things I
Right.
could have put on this list.
Well, we can do a 2 for 1.
Well, I'm going to go with something that I don't know what the solution is going to be, but it's something that's been bothering me increasingly lately.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know where I got it from. I got it from someone else who said, "Oh, I really hate this," and I thought, well, that's really stupid. And then suddenly I started
Now
thinking, and I use lifts a lot.
Mm.
I go to stations, use lifts a lot
Sure.
every day, and press the red button for the lift and stand there. The problem I've got, and this is happening almost certainly weekly, is people that come to the lift and then stand in front of you and press the button, even though
It's
the
lit up
button's
red.
obviously been pressed.
Yeah, that's always.
I'm standing there. So I've had a couple of exchanges because I can't let things go where I said, "Excuse me, why did you do that?" Okay, which is to me is a reasonable question.
Yeah.
The light's on, it's obviously been pressed. So why do you think I'm an idiot just standing here, wouldn't have pressed the button, hoping the lift's going to come down? So the problem is, with me, when I talk like that, it doesn't look good.
Have you tried smiling?
Yeah, and so I've had a couple of occasions where I think
Say it with a big smile
they've left.
to us.
They've left. They've walked
Excuse
away.
me.
'Cause I think they thought I was being aggressive. But I just wanted to get to the logic of why are you pressing a button that's already. Now I know this is trivial, but I thought I'd come on with something trivial.
Yeah.
No,
But
no, sure.
I had it today. I had the opposite on the train here.
No one.
They
presses it.
wouldn't press the button to open the doors because they were just waiting for them to open magically.
Oh,
And I had to be like,
idiots.
so I was about 4 people back. They were obviously like on their holidays.
Yeah.
Like, not
Well,
from this
yeah,
country.
it's
I was
it's usually not
excuse me,
anyone
can you press
English.
the button?
So it doesn't
But you
look
can't
good,
say that
yeah.
without sounding.
That's my problem. Yeah.
Excuse me, can you press the button? There's no way of saying that without
It's not too
saying.
bad.
So is this too trivial?
Press the
This
button,
problem.
please.
No,
I don't know what the solution
No,
is.
no.
I mean, the other week, I saw somebody. Not only did they come and stand, and I'm standing quite near the door, so they've almost had to force themselves in front of me to press a button that's obviously already been pressed. And the other day, when pressed the button, held a finger on it, and then start looking up the lift shaft.
Well, she's obviously doesn't know what she's doing.
So
I think you've nearly answered it yourself there. I think you've got to stand as close to the button
So
as
that they
possible, so
can't
they
get
can't
to
even
it.
get there.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then if they do try, I stand even
It's
closer
like-
and guard
yeah,
it like a
cover it,
bouncer.
yeah,
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what you should do.
That's
And then
nice-
just
that's-
look at them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Give them a
but
bit
see,
of a-
what's happened is they've either been tourists or haven't spoken English very well. So I've made the mistake of saying, "Excuse me, why did you just press that button?" And they don't know why I've said it.
Yeah.
And then it looks, I can see they're thinking it's some sort of racist exchange.
Yeah.
Because of the way I look, I get that quite a lot. I could say good morning to someone and they're hearing, fuck off back home.
That's what I've been hearing the
You
whole
know.
time.
Yeah,
to
that's
be
what
honest.
he's been hearing the whole
and that-
episode.
I'm sure that's what they're hearing. They don't even know what I'm saying. And I have those exchanges quite a lot. So standing right up
But-
close, so
but-
they can't even see. They can't even see if it's
But
in Bristol.
famously, you've got a very famous joke about that, about where people say, you're the only white person.
Oh yeah. I've got a joke that's been a good one for me and a big one on Instagram, which is because I look racist, particularly where I live. I do attract a lot of racist people because they just assume I'm one of them. In fact, I think they think I'm their leader. But the joke is they're over familiar and they sort of go, "All right, Jeff, you still living in East London?" And I go, "Yeah, I am." And they go, "Well, you must be the only white person in East London." And I go, "Well, actually, I'm the only white person in my fucking house because my wife's black and my kids are brown." Yeah. Which I think really puts the whole thing in perspective really nicely.
Yeah. So,
So
but they
standing
haven't
in
seen
front
it.
of the
Maybe you
button,
show them that video on your Instagram.
where every time I get with one of these buttons,
hold that in front of the button on the lift, and they have to watch that. Do you want to do another one?
Well,
Or you reckon
yeah,
that?
I mean, this might be a bigger one. I don't know if you've got
Alright.
time for this, but football fans,
Yeah.
not people that enjoy watching football, but people that want to associate themselves with a football club.
Yeah.
I've
That's
got a
us.
problem with those people.
That's us too.
I think they're selfish.
Yeah.
I think they're shallow.
Okay.
I think they're depoliticised. They have no social awareness. You know, for example, their hospital could be closing, the library could be closing, that could all be going on around them, but that's not what is important. What's important is how their team do.
That's what Joey's like.
So I think those sort of people, I don't know, they get on my fucking nerves.
Yeah.
Well, I can say to you that it is an escape from reality, because you're putting your slight frustrations or whatever into this thing
At the ref.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people should
the
be
important thing
escaping
is-
from reality. I think they should be facing up to reality.
Well, that is a good point. But I think where football fans go wrong often is they take it outside of the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to sing a Tottenham song at a station 4 stops away from the ground.
Oh, I see.
Or,
I see.
Like, I wouldn't go home.
Publicly, they get on your nerves, football fans.
Oh,
when
yeah,
they're at
100%.
stations. And
But I wouldn't go home if Tottenham lose a game. Once I've left the stadium, I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
I've got a mate who, if Tottenham lose, he won't come to the pub afterwards.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, they don't even know you're alive.
See, I did think about a possible solution in that I thought, certainly during the football season, friends you have on Facebook, you might as well just get rid of them, because all they want to talk about is how the game went and how we did and all of that. And I find it shallow. I also find it basically irresponsible politically. So I wondered if the idea I had on the way here, so what you think, is even though football fans get on my nerves and they're a problem to me, if they, even out of season, could divert that energy to something good.
Like your tour.
Well, no, I was thinking saving the NHS.
Yeah.
So this is the idea I had. Tell me if this works. Out of season, instead of supporting your football team, support your local hospital. Still go down there on a Saturday afternoon.
Cheer.
Watch operations.
Yeah.
Maybe instead of wearing a football shirt, wear a surgeon's gown with the name of the surgeon on the back. Yeah. And then
Shout at the surgeon, you don't know what you're doing.
Get in there, yeah.
Get
We're all
that.
going home in
Fix
a
that
fucking
heart.
ambulance, yeah. It all works, isn't it?
That's lovely.
And when you go home, and your missus goes, how did they do today? You could go, I don't know, 2 heart bypasses and a knee replacement, or something like that. If you could just divert that energy, And I think, in fact, even seriously, I think if all of that energy that was used by every Saturday by men, right, going to football, was turned on their political circumstances, I think a whole lot of good could be done.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of them in the off season have put their energy into burning down a Holiday Inn full of asylum seekers.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Not helping the NHS.
Can I
They
say-
burnt down a
can I
library,
say
didn't
not
they?
all football fans.
No, not all racists.
Not all racists are burning down.
Well, can we just say something
Yeah.
about this?
Sure.
I did see in the news that they were saying riots across the UK, and I thought it's not across the UK, is it?
No.
Northerners. Yeah? It's just Northerners, mate. Do you think they go on in London, it'd last 5 minutes? We'd all kick them out.
There was
Northerners.
there was a London one, wasn't there?
Was
Was
there?
there? Yeah, I think
Just
it
one.
barely
There was
kicks
still a couple
off
of
the-
Northerners though.
It's all Northern. It's all Northern. Honestly.
You lot.
So basically, it's Northerners' fault. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a serious way, you just see how have they cocked up integration in the north in a way that we haven't done in London. You know, how have they? It's almost like what's the word when you have separate?
Segregation.
Yeah, it's almost like segregation. When you go to a place like Huddersfield and that, it's like a segregated world. Whereas in London, we haven't
It
done
is
that. have we?
different. I went to uni in Bolton and I did get that feeling.
Yeah,
It's very separate.
Northerners, mate.
Did you? So
Northerners.
you never saw Big Sam,
I never saw Big Sam.
No.
Wasn't allowed.
Kevin Davies?
I actually did see
JJ
Kevin
Koch,
Davis.
did
I'm not
you?
even joking. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Oh,
This has
mate,
been-
I
we
could
got one
sit
more
here
problem.
all day. Oh, another
we
problem.
just got.
Whose problem is
sorry.
this?
This is a listener's problem. We have to do this.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
very-
that's
it's very important.
What's their name? Have you got their name?
This is from EM.
Okay.
Yeah, like
And
Emma.
where are they? Where do they live?
I don't know. They're
Not
on
the
the
north,
internet.
is
Are
it?
they north?
Yeah, maybe.
It's probably going to be about immigrants then,
Yeah.
isn't it?
No, it's about. This is actually kind of ties in with the football thing. My husband spends all his time at home watching sport. It feels like I might as well live alone, and he might as well be married to his PlayStation. Can you help?
What's wrong with that? PlayStations
dear.
are sexy.
Um,
Have you stuck your dick in the PlayStation?
Yeah.
I think
dear.
she should leave
No, no.
him.
Oh.
It's not the sort of partner you want, is it?
Nah. Like I like video
Wait, hang on.
game- Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
Whoa, whoa,
What's
whoa,
your
whoa.
wife's name?
Emily. Oh.
M. Is
And,
this about you?
Could be.
Is she leaving me?
I don't know.
Let me just
Let's
give her a
hope so.
call.
Give her a call.
Like I like video games and stuff, but I won't play them so much that I don't spend time with her.
Oh, then you were going to talk about when we met, weren't you? Was that going to be part of our conversation?
I
Have
can
you
talk
forgotten?
about that.
Have you forgotten?
Yeah.
Sorry, do we
Yeah,
need to
well,
clear
let's-
it?
let's-
Get rid of him, Em.
Get rid
That's
of
a
him,
good
Em.
answer. I
Say it
agree,
down the
that's
camera, Jeff.
Well, they need
Get
to have a
rid of
talk about
Get
it.
Get rid of him, mate.
He needs to play it at certain times when they're not together.
Yeah,
What you need
that's
to
what I
do
do.
is grow up, basically.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
he needs
yeah,
to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I focus all my sport into a certain number of hours. Like I
Yeah.
go to Tottenham. That's my once every other week.
yeah.
That's my football time. Little bit of PlayStation to relax when I get home from a gig before I go to bed. If my girlfriend's not round or whatever. But you can't do it all the time. 3 games max.
So when I was at uni in my final year, I got to do a thing called I did like a media degree. Got to do a thing which was
Krav Maga.
which was a work-based placement.
Speed, very important. Speed, get out of there, yeah.
Work-based sort of placement thing, like a work experience thing.
Okay.
And I wanted to do comedy at the time. I think I'd done a couple of gigs when I was 21. And I asked if I could. I basically got a little work experience thing following around the tech at the Manchester Comedy Store. And you were there for quite a lot of gigs. You
Yeah.
were very nice. And it was really good at the time because basically all the gigs I saw were mainly like quite bad open mic gigs. But then being up in the tech thing at these gigs, seeing people like
Oh, I
you
see.
do the same, mostly
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
set again and again,
Sure.
very useful. So I met you there, but that was
Okay.
more than 10 years ago.
And he has done the same 4 jokes for the last
Probably
10
have,
years.
yeah.
No, him.
Oh, he
okay.
has.
Um,
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah.
sorry I don't remember you.
oh, I don't expect you to. I was staff.
Okay.
The first time we met, I walked into the green room. Well, actually, this wasn't the first time, but the second time. You went, I'll just let him pour his water.
It's a nice noise.
Listen. Sort of undermines my story there, Bilal.
Yeah,
We're coming to the end of the podcast. Couldn't have waited. Couldn't have waited for that, could you?
go on.
I walked in, it was Highlight in Watford.
Wow.
No, Reading.
Wow.
And I walked in, and this is when I had my trilby hat and my,
Oh, dear.
you know, my cardigans and my pearl necklaces, and you said, "You look like a poet. They're gonna hate you."
Did I? I don't remember that. Did they hate you or not?
No, I actually had a good gig,
okay.
so I was like, "I'm gonna show this guy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to show them that Reading needs poetry.
Yeah.
Anyhow. Well,
Anyway, that's the end of the podcast. Jeff.
mate, it was an absolute joy.
Do you want me
A
to
pleasure.
present you with your sliders on the podcast? To prove
Yeah,
that
why
I've
not?
got
Are
them?
they here though? Are they
Yeah,
in
they're
this
over
room?
there.
Okay, can we do
Pass me
that?
that
So,
bag.
as a closing
Let the
thing-
audience see. They're very generic. Actually, I got them in Asda. They're not designer sliders or anything. They're very ordinary, but the key thing about them is the size. I love the size.
So
I like sliders to be much too big so I can slot into them.
That's your flannelette and
Oh,
glasses. there.
fantastic, man.
You left
You know, I
in the
left
car.
that there, man. That is racism.
And look at the size of these.
Hey, look at that. See, that's
They're
a
big.
that's a big slider, that is.
It's a big slider.
So I'm going to be in a hotel on Friday, and I'll be sliding into these in Ibiza, all inclusive.
It feels like you're selling something.
I've never been on an all inclusive holiday before, but I've
Oh,
got a
really?
new girlfriend who's a bit all inclusive, and she's persuaded me to go. So I mean, I would never go there in a million years. Really, I'm more of a sort of Greek island kind of guy, but I'm leaning into all of her ideas, and
that's what love is,
That's
Jeff.
what love is.
yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard.
What a beautiful end to a wonderful podcast.
What a top guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hey,
Go and see him on tour in the
privilege,
autumn.
A pleasure, and I've enjoyed your company very much.
Thank
Now
you
I'm
very
going
much.
away with an extra flannel, another pair of glasses.
You can see Jeff at the Oxford Glee Club, Wrexham William Aston Hall, York the Crescent, and the Leeds Wardrobe.
He likes you. He doesn't do that for anyone else.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No, I'm scared.
appreciate-
That's why.
Thanks very much indeed. It's been a real joy.
And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.